Hey guys, I had the opportunity recently to interview the director of the brand new movie Run the Race, which is a Tim Tebow produced movie that's out this weekend. So if you have a volunteer team or you want to take your family to a great movie this weekend, check out Run the Race. Again, produced by Tim Tebow, and I interviewed director Chris Dowling. Now I'm going to let you hear that. We weren't able to get video for this interview, but it was a phone interview. But I'll let you watch some of the trailer and look at his picture while I interview him on audio. So here you go. Chris Dowling, director of the brand new movie Run the Race, which is out nationwide in theaters this weekend. Check this out. Hey guys, I welcome on the line Chris Dowling. He is the director and co-writer of the brand new movie Run the Race, which is out in theaters nationwide this weekend. Chris, welcome. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Carl. Appreciate it, bud.
Now, this movie is produced by Tim Tebow. Tell me how you guys kind of came together and how the movie came about for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, movies get made in a million different ways, but this one actually started 14 years ago. There's an original writer and a producer on it, Jake McIntyre, and he wrote this. And, I mean, he's literally been the engine that kind of drove it the whole time. Including coming to the point where he ended up selling his house to pay for legal bills. He was trying to get it going.
Wow.
And, 6 years ago, I think it got in the hands of Robbie Tebow. And then Robbie was really hype on it and just said, hey, I'm going to do this kind of basically with or without my brother. But fortunately, Tim liked it too. And there's a producer of mine, a good friend of mine, Darren Mormon, who we've been looking on something to work on together. He got brought on board and he called me up. He's like, hey, man, you want to be in the Tim Tebow business? And I said, absolutely, I did. And he sent me the script to rewrite it. And then these guys asked me to come on and direct it afterwards. And it's just been, it's a long process, but and we're just fortunate now to see it in theaters.
That's awesome, man. Now this story, kind of give us a sense of the story without giving too much away. It's two brothers. It's a story of two brothers. Kind of walk me through the plot without divulging too much.
Yeah, it's very much a coming-of-age story. It's basically these two high school brothers. They've just been dealt this really tough hand in life. Mom died of cancer, and then, dad kind of just walked out on them after that. And it's really honestly about them kind of linking arms and saying, we're going to tackle the world together. And the one brother's a high school star football, and, he's got this basically a scholarship waiting on him. And that's their ticket out of this small town, but then he blows out his knee in a fight, and they've got to figure out how to kind of regroup and still find a way out. And it's layered, man. It's good. It's layered with family and faith and, redemption and forgiveness, first love. I mean, again, it's very much a coming-of-age tale.
So it's a sports-focused movie, and we've seen a lot of those over the years. Rudy, Remember the Titans, even most recently, kind of faith-based, facing the Giants kind of movies. Why do another sports movie, and what are maybe some of the challenges that went with making a sports film?
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing with this one is, although it is, I guess in theory it can be a sports film, but sports is very much the backdrop of it and not necessarily the crux of it. And so, there's been a lot of, stories out there, like you had mentioned, that have been really football heavy, but ours really gets more into character than the actual, sports part of it. But again, with anything and with these characters, we were striving for authenticity. So the dialogue, the locations, they needed to feel like real people having real conversations. And ultimately, especially with the Tebow brand, we wanted the football to feel extremely authentic as well.
Right.
And it was really cool, actually. When we got there, the high school that we were using as the setting for the boys' characters' high school, Bessemer Academy, actually had their real championship football game with 800 people in the stands and playing their rival team. And it was the first day of shooting, which is absolutely crazy for us to do this, but they let us put our characters, our actors in uniform and stand on the sidelines with the real game, run in into huddles and run out. If their guys scored, our guys went and jumped on them in the end zone. I had my head coach, Michael T. Williamson, standing next to their real head coach, and he was yelling at players, and we were shooting narrative scenes. We had 4 camera crews and a drone going, and it was pretty cool. And so, when you watch the movie, you're seeing some real football in there. It's really cool.
So you mentioned Michael T. People, even though it's been 25 years, people still know him as Bubba from Forrest Gump. And he's done several other shows. There was a show years ago that I used to watch him on called Boomtown, kind of a different show not a lot of people know about. But tell me about the cast of the film with Michael T. and you got Francis Fisher and several, just an incredible cast. Tell me how the cast kind of came together for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. We kind of cast our lead, the young kids, and we found them Evan Hofer and Tanner Stein, who play the brothers. And even though they hadn't done a whole lot at that point, actually Tanner's on a show called Impulse right now.
Okay.
But they both just give these phenomenal performances, and Kelsey, the love interest, and then after that, we just started reaching out, and Frances came on very early. She really loved the part. Michael T. actually told us he wasn't looking to do anything, but then he read it and was like, this is something I want to be a part of. And so that was amazing. And then Mario Van Peebles came on to play the pastor, which was super cool.
Yeah.
We had Eddie George come in and play actually it's funny because he's a football coach and he's out there, but he's for the University of Florida. So we had him in actually Gators gear, which I'm sure he had second thoughts about, but it was awesome.
Nice. That's great, man. Now, you've tell me how the screenplay. I want to get after that for just a minute. You've written several screenplays the last few years with The Remaining. You wrote Priceless, helped with that with Joel. I talked to Joel when that movie came out, Smallbone. And so tell me kind of the writing process and how you kind of put the script together and the team there.
Yeah, I mean, every process is different with these scripts. In a lot of ways, I've rewritten people's scripts, and I've got some originals, and then I've had my scripts rewritten and worked with people. But everyone's different, and and it's cool because everyone's kind of been in a different space. Like we had The Remaining, which I did with Sony, but that was a horror film and faith-based horror film, which is kind of wild. And then we had Priceless deals with like sex trafficking, which is a tough element for the church, and Your Hope Grows had an individual with Down syndrome in it. So it's cool. It's just cool to dig in and get these different different characters and totally different stories, and get to just kind of really dig in and make it come to life. And so this was no different. I've been they brought me on board and said, hey, this is a first time writer, and it needs some help, and so here we go. And so I worked with everybody, collaborated, and got it to a place where we all felt real comfortable with it and excited about it.
So we know Tim is a strong believer. Tell me about the faith element in the film. Is it kind of smack in the face evangelism? Is it a how faith heavy is the film?
No, anything I do, a lot of these films are probably from this message movies or whatever, but are they can be very exclusive, and if you're not already in the team, you kind of don't want to watch the movie.
Right.
And I always want to do the inclusive thing, because as humans, I think that we are, we all want the same things in life. We want to be, know that we're loved, that we have value, we want the best for our families. I mean, there's things that really connect us from a human element, and so I think to to explore that, and then to show people that the way that works with faith and God and Jesus and all that is something that's important. So ours is very much a layer in the movie, and very much organically driven, so that so just that it feels real, and it feels like these real people having real conversations, and that was always the goal. Again, it goes back to us saying that the authenticity.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that's what we've been seeing so far in these with the audience reactions and stuff, and it's been really compelling. So, but again, it's definitely not in your face like you're saying evangelic anything really.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, who should see the movie? Is this a more family feature? Is it, anybody can watch it? Take my kids to go see it? Kind of give me a sense of who should go see the film.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it was really built probably the most specifically for kind of the young adult age. But we're finding that like parents are loving it because they're watching it and they want to see help these boys. Like the moms are wanting to just be there to protect these poor two brothers, and then there's this dad relationship that goes in and out with the boys. So like we're having fathers that are really into it. So it's really, I mean, it is across the board, and that's the way it's tested. But I would say primarily it's it is kind of the young adult group, and a lot of families are going. I mean, I brought my 8-year-old. I was screening with the 6-year-olds. I mean, there's some heavy thematic things in there, but ultimately so far, I haven't had anyone say, "Hey, that was too much for my kids."
Good. All right. So, what do you hope people will take away from it? What are some of the conversations you want us talking about with the film?
I mean, for me, there's the artistic side, and I just hope that people really respond again to the amazing cinematography by Chris Kimlin, and the soundtrack is different, and just so there's that. I keep going back to the authenticity that I really hope people respond to, but ultimately, I think that there's characters that are on these journeys, and like in life, everything is kind of tangential. Like it's never just the straight path we assume that it was going to be. And I know there's people that are going on all kinds of different journeys there. And I think there's enough that each, everyone in the audience can find some affinities, some of these characters, and really want to go on the journey with them and see that, there is this God that loves you, and that's where you get your value from and your identity.
So you're talking to that's awesome, man. I love that. You're talking in this blog and podcast to a lot of church media people and leaders in churches that have volunteer teams that can gather their volunteers and go see this movie together. So how, besides obviously going to the theater, and we know that opening weekend is huge for any movie, especially, a faith-based or an independent kind of film, it's huge because it, helps drive the movie forward and keeps it in theaters longer. But what are some other ways that we as the church can help you guys succeed?
Honestly, like it's what you're saying is 100% spot on. Like if we want to see more movies get made like this, obviously Hollywood listens to where the dollars are, and that first box office, that first weekend this weekend is absolutely crucial. And again, I think a rising tide it lifts all boats. So it's just not for our film, but it actually speaks to the genre. But ultimately, I mean, honestly, like spreading the word on social media, telling your friends. I mean, obviously, churches. We've got a ton of churches and organizations that are doing buyouts, but just anything to get out there and support it and let people know that there's a quality movie out there that deals with faith, family, forgiveness, and all that in a very real way. I think that's really it, is just spreading the word. Yeah.
Well, we're here for you, man, and we'd love to just spread the word on social media, and obviously people listening, just as you watch it, be sure to. Is there a hashtag that you're using or something on social that we can kind of help spread the word?
Absolutely, you can hashtag Run the Race Movie.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Chris, thank you so much for your time today. And, man, best success on the weekend. I know that, it can be kind of nervous going into opening weekend for any film that you're involved with. So, man, thank you so much for your time. I wish you best success on the movie.
I appreciate you, brother.
This is it.
We got the beat. Yeah. It's in our feet. Yeah. It's in our head. Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah. I must confess. Yeah. That we're the best. Yeah. The Mighty Rebel. Yeah. The Mighty Rebel. Yeah. The Mighty Rebel.
Yeah. I've seen enough football to last me a lifetime. After watching you take that hit last year, your body all locked up the way it was, no thank you, no sir.
I've coached hundreds of kids, man. I've never met kids like these boys. And they've been dealt a tough hand, and they've been through a lot. But somehow managed every single day to make it.
We're family.
No, we are family. You're just some guy that walked out on us when Mom died.
He's our dad! No, he is not our dad. He's a drunk and a coward, and he is not my father.
This came for you in the mail today. Congrats. You're on somebody's radar, son.
It's happening.
Yeah, you're right. It's a big deal, dude.
It's the Florida Gators.
I'm gonna get that scholarship. I'm gonna get us out of here.
She's got that soft jaw. Runs in the family, right? It's the end of our football season. Chance of scholarship for this boy.
Look, Coach, with all due respect, this isn't about football anymore. It's about a ticket out of here, and that ticket's gone now.
They give scholarships for track.
We're all works in progress, and Zach's a work in progress.
I run with you step for step, and I'm gonna need a training partner. Are you my nurse intern?
I am your nurse intern. I'm sorry to hear about your knee. I remember you telling me how good you are.
Your boys don't need a coach. They need a dad.
I'm gonna go to state, and I'm gonna win. Who's not gonna give a scholarship to the state champ? And then we're gonna take that money, and wherever I end up, you're gonna walk onto the football team. But we're gonna get out of here. That's the plan.
Goose call on 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3!